Give us a moment, ladies and gentlemen, getting set up. All right. Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Oh, man. This year has already been a time. Welcome to the Box Broadcast. My name is Kai Seleko, and I'm happy to be your host for this beautiful Saturday evening. And I hope the New Year is treating everybody well. So far, there's been a lot that's been happening over the past few days. And we even did attempt to do a box broadcast on New Year's, or a little bit before New Year's, to go through essentially how to do propaganda. And unfortunately, there were some audio issues when it came to the playback of it. It was a bit choppy, and there are some extra things that I actually wanted to add in there to make sure that you have essentially the playbook of how to do propaganda in its entirety. So here we are. Let me see. Before we dive into this, we need to ask ourselves a very important question. What is propaganda? It is time to investigate this. People keep talking about propaganda, but what is it? We're going to ask the AI version of myself. Kind of fun, right? What do you think? What would the AI version of myself say in this situation? Let us ask, what's propaganda? Gonna give it a moment to think here. And as you know, this AI does have essentially my personality has access to more information than me. It is not me. If it sounds like me, just know I will be encouraging you not to believe it. Don't believe it's me, even though it sounds like me. Give a moment to think. Happy for everyone to tune in here today, whether you're tuning in on Box, YouTube, Twitch, preferably Box, because on Box, you're able to actually engage with communities interested in geopolitics, alternative finance, and what's truly going on in the world around us. And we are going to be going into beta with Box this upcoming week. Just some excitement there. I know. It's been a long time coming. And during the beta phase, we will be enabling the ability for people to begin earning Box tokens for watching the stream, interacting with content on Box, different posts, posting on Box, and things of that nature. All right, let's see what the AI version of myself would say what propaganda is.
All right, so let's dive into the whole propaganda thing. Propaganda is like that friend who always tells you what you want to hear, but with a sneaky agenda. It's all about spreading information, often biased or misleading, to influence people's opinions and actions. Whether it's pushing a political message, selling a product, or just shaping public perception, propaganda is the art of persuasion cranked up to 11. In the modern world, especially with the digital boom, it's all over the place. From your social media feeds to traditional news outlets, it's like an invisible hand steering public opinion, sometimes subtly, sometimes not so much. But remember, just because something is everywhere doesn't mean it's trustworthy. Always keep that skeptical lens polished and ready and question what you're being fed, especially if it seems too good or bad to be true. Now, why does this matter? Because understanding propaganda can help us make more informed decisions, avoid being manipulated, and promote genuine open discourse. Let's aim for a future where our choices are based on truth, not spin.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I don't know if I could have said it better myself. Kind of wild, right? It being, AI version of myself giving an answer I probably wouldn't have been able to come up as quickly or as eloquent as I could off the rip. But overall, propaganda is the movement. In our post-truth world, that is 2025, we already know there seems to be a lot of misleading information going on, and it's slowly being dialed to, you could say, the max. Just think of different scenarios that are occurring in the world. I may provide examples here and there, ranging from the understanding what's gone on in Vegas, the Cybertruck blowing up in Vegas, all the way to the New Orleans terrorist attack. What are people saying about it? What strategies are they using? Well, this is the time. It's time to figure it out. I will be posting this link in the description. I will also post this link on Box for you to have on hand to use responsibly. I may edit it over time to improve upon it, but let this be your foundation to know exactly how to do propaganda step by step. Let us begin. So the first thing, whenever it comes down to creating propaganda, is to establish that foundation. Maybe you're going to be selling a product. Maybe you're going to be distributing an idea, some information. It really doesn't matter. But without this foundation, you may be lost on how to actually even capture a specific audience to think a certain type of way, or to want something, or to deny something. This can also be used for any marketing campaigns, especially throw a couple of advertisement ad revenue or ad bucks into there, and you should be able to really capture some momentum with whatever propaganda you want to whip out. Step 1, defining the target audience. So you want to choose a susceptible audience based on at least one of the following. You want to be able to target a specific country or area. It can be a city. It could be a community. You want that area. Let me update that. It's going to be for specific area. Do you think Russia does this? Select the demographic. Whether they are white, black, male, female, tall, not tall, their economic status, things around that in order to really know who you are talking to, over time you can cast the net wider if you feel like you've essentially created an effective propaganda campaign. Their education or intelligence level. I will tell you, at the end of the day, somebody with a PhD that wants to go into distributing some sort of propaganda regarding quantum mechanics will have a very different style than somebody who may just have a diploma and only did a Wikipedia research session to look up what quantum mechanics is and try to distribute that information towards a larger audience. You will be getting very different messages from both of those. And the vibes. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it supposed to stoke fear? Is it supposed to stoke anger? Is it supposed to make somebody feel safe? Is it supposed to validate what somebody already believes? If you get the vibes that you are trying to whip out for your propaganda, then overall, at that point, you should have a well-defined target audience. Now, this is one of the fun parts. This is supposed to essentially encompass your message in as few words as possible. Sometimes, if you want some bonus points, you can add a manifesto to really bring it home. Really bring it home. How many manifestos have come out recently? I know there was one with that 15-year-old school shooter. Her writing was not the best. That was 3 weeks ago. She wrote a manifesto. There's Luigi. He wrote a manifesto. The guy in the Cybertruck incident wrote a manifesto. You know, manifestos are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are really going into an era where things seem to be shifting and accelerating towards a very unclear direction, and people are trying to grab ways to provide language and understand language to even understand our potential destination moving forward. Now, when it comes down to developing a simple, repeatable message that resonates broadly, think of things like these. Make America great again. Eat the rich. Power to the people. Black lives matter. All lives matter. They're taking our jobs. We can do it. I want you. Stop the steal. There's also different slogans that other companies whip out that's attached to their brand, but I'm not interested in advertising any of those brands today. I don't think it would be a good message. Let's just kind of keep it from what you just hear from the general populace and kind of gets people to do things. And make sure it's understandable by even a 5-year-old, or at least easy to repeat. Because you can imagine if you have like a little kid, Mommy, Daddy, make America great again. Mommy, Daddy, they're taking our jobs. Oh my goodness, stop the steal. Sometimes it's repeated so much that it may lose meaning, but that's okay as long as you are still holding on to that narrative and you don't let other people, you could say, recuperate or redefine even what a catchphrase means. For example, woke. Woke is very different in its definition today than what woke meant even 15 years ago. The third one. Now you want to establish the enemy. All right? You're going to be identifying targets to blame or discredit. These are the different categories of potential enemies that are often used in propaganda or marketing. Sometimes you can have more than one enemy, but it is good to hone in on a specific one. For example, we have science. If the enemy is science, let's say they invented a teleportation device. No, 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 no. These scientists are trying to get people to go into some sort of portal and they'll never come back. Maybe that's the enemy. Maybe the scientist is just trying to do a good thing. They've created this equation, but you've found a way to create propaganda to completely deny it. And people are following that narrative. And you're doing it out of fear, too. Medicine. So you can blame the medical practitioners for whatever, maybe causing illness, maybe denying healthcare. I don't know what. It's really up to you where you want to go from there. You can blame law and judicial systems. So think of lawyers, police, and judges. That's where the whole campaign for defund the police, if you guys remember that. That was quite a moment in time during the pandemic. Political representatives. You can blame immigrants. I will also add foreigners because there is a difference there. So immigrants, people who end up in the country and seem to be behaving as a citizen or a participant in the country, and they're not originally born in that country. Whether they're legal or illegal, that doesn't matter. You can still find a way to blame them for a specific issue in order to galvanize a specific audience. Foreigners, where they differ from immigrants, that's where they're straight up not supposed to be there. They may not even physically be there. They may be manipulating how people think in a different country or a different area or a different community. You don't know where they came from. You don't know why they're doing what they're doing. There's just way too many question marks there. You can look at the climate, nature, or the environment as another enemy. You can look at financial institutions as an enemy. You can look at corporations as an enemy. You could look at historians or storytellers as the enemy, because that's where we can have a falsification of historical events, if you wanted to do that. You could look at technology as the enemy. You can look at celebrities or false deities, people who are essentially praised to such a degree that you can blame them for issues or have them promote your message. You can blame a culture / society itself. This one's so funny. I will read the tweet. You guys already heard it. You guys have probably already heard it, but let's do it again, right? Let me pull it up because you'll understand exactly. It's wild. Vivek Ramaswamy essentially doing that. He hit a couple of those things on the head right there. The reason top tech companies often hire often hire foreign-born and first-generation engineers over Native Americans isn't because of an innate American IQ deficit, a lazy and wrong explanation. A key part of it comes down to the C word, culture. Tough questions demand tough answers. And if we're really serious about fixing the problem, we have to confront the truth. Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long, at least since the 90s and likely longer. That doesn't start in college, it starts young. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad, the champ over the jock, or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World or Zack and Slater over Screech and Saved by the Bell or Stefan over Steve Urkel in Family Matters will not produce the best engineers. Fact. I know multiple sets of immigrant parents in the 90s who actively limited how much their kids could watch those TV shows precisely because they promoted mediocrity. And their kids went on to become wildly successful STEM graduates. More movies like Whiplash, fewer reruns of Friends, more math tutoring, fewer sleepovers, more weekend science competitions, fewer Saturday morning cartoons. More books, less TV, more creating, less chillin', more extracurriculars, less hanging out at the mall. Most normal Americans look skeptically at those kinds of parents. More normal American kids view those kind of kids with scorn. If you grow up aspiring to normalcy, normalcy is what you'll achieve. Now close your eyes and visualize which families you knew in the 90s. Or even now, who raise their kids according to one model versus the other. Be brutally honest. Normalcy doesn't cut it in a hyper-competitive global market for technical talent. And if we pretend like it does, we'll have our asses handed to us by China. This can be our Sputnik moment. We've awakened from slumber before, and we can do it again. Trump's election hopefully marks the beginning of a new golden era in America, but only if our culture fully wakes up. A culture that once again prioritizes achievement over normalcy, excellence over mediocrity, nerdiness over conformity, hard work over laziness. That's the work we have cut out for us. Rather than wallowing in victimhood and just wishing or legislating alternative hiring practices into existence, I'm confident we can do it. 116.7 million views. That tweet, that post right there is one of the most encompassing examples of propaganda. Whether you agree with him or not, that doesn't matter. But damn, did it get a reaction from everybody who heard of it? And then finally, you can look at the enemy as AI and aliens. Oh, if you think about the story in New Jersey with the drones, I don't know, it could be aliens taking advantage of the AI in these drones, and that's why they're flying in such weird patterns. 4, claim an identity. All right, now that you've essentially you've chosen your enemy and you generally understand your target audience, you need to really hone in on who you are. Who do you represent? Who do you align with? What's funny, again, it is recommended to only start out with one of these, but you can start to spread out in order to capture a larger audience if you see, if you essentially see momentum with the campaign that you are embarking on. So, an identity to align with, or identities to align with, you can think of the elite, blue-collar workers, white-collar workers, students, scientists, tech companies, children, the elderly, kittens and dogs, and I will also add here exotic pets. Like if you claim to have a tiger or a crocodile and you represent those who have those kinds of pets and there's some sort of injustice or you want to sell them a product, that's possible. The Illuminati, that, I think we all understand what the Illuminati is, whether they exist or not, is actually, it doesn't matter if they exist or not. It's essentially just saying like some sort of shadowy government entity, the people in the background. Celebrities, you can claim to be on the side of AI, and you can also you can claim to be on the side of aliens as well. What's also interesting about these identities is that you should be able to identify another target for blame in order to further solidify your narrative if you so choose. To really, really add that chef's kiss to your messaging here. Now, the final step of the foundation. This is the fun stuff, guys. You got to figure out the desire, the motivation, the purpose. Because if you're doing this adds to the vibes. This can affect how you use language. This can affect which channels you even distribute information on, or where you decide to market to, who you decide to market to. It's the driving force. It's the passion. It's the vision. Here are a couple of common categories for any sort of propaganda or campaign. So it could be out of revenge against the enemy that you've established. You want to get yours back. Don't you feel that they've taken your jobs? We should do something about them. We got to do something about them. You could do it for fame and recognition. This one's a bit pernicious if that's your desire and motivation, because this can already naturally come, but it becomes a bit harder if you acquire a large audience and everything to steer the ship if you've already achieved this goal. And that can open up opportunities for other people to establish a new desire or motivation that essentially drives the propaganda or the campaign, and recontextualize what people even think about it. You can do it for chaos, so you're disrupting systems for its own sake. You can do it for political gain. You can do it for financial gain. And you can do it nihilistically. So you simply do not care, and you're doing it out of boredom or disillusionment. It's not quite like chaos, because intending to disrupt something for its own sake is a goal. But if you're just doing it out of boredom and you're disillusioned, you're like, it doesn't even matter. Let me just do this. Some people do propaganda campaigns just because they can, out of boredom. It's wild. And that's pretty much it. Is there any questions about the foundation of of how to create propaganda? If not, I will continue here. But first, let me see if we were to take an example foundation throughout this process, okay? We are going to create a quick fake propaganda campaign for academic purposes, just the foundation of it. So don't pay too much mind. So let us see if I were to do the first thing that we want to do is define the target audience. So let's do let's do Poland. And we'll be targeting children between the ages of 10 and 17. Actually, let's do people 30 to 60. And maybe they've had some college. And what are the vibes? We will try to. We'll do people. Okay. Fear of the future of tech. That's the vibe. Now, I'm not going to make a manifesto for this, but our catchphrase is going to essentially be, let us do all right. Let us ask the AI version of myself once more. Kind of ironic, right? Fear of the future of technology. So create. Let me grab this. Create a propaganda slogan we'll do 4 words or less. Create a propaganda slogan and narrative for an audience in Poland. Let me see here. That are between the ages of 30 to 60, have some college, and fear the future of technology. And then we'll add to it. We will add to it. This is the moment I would actually like something else on my soundboard I just thought about. Let's see. Done. All right. Let's see what it says.
Slogan: embrace tradition, secure tomorrow.
Okay.
Narrative: all right, folks, picture this. Poland standing tall and resilient, a nation that has weathered the storms of history by holding on to its rich traditions while stepping cautiously into the future. Our world is racing forward with technological leaps. And yeah, it can be a bit nerve-wracking, especially when we're not entirely sure where this tech train is heading. But here's the thing. We don't have to abandon our roots to move forward. Embrace tradition, secure tomorrow isn't just a slogan. It's a call to action for all of us. By staying grounded in our heritage and values, we can approach the future of technology with confidence and control. Think of it as blending the old with the new, crafting a future that's not only advanced but also authentically Polish. Let's harness the power of tech to enhance our lives while ensuring that our cultural identity and way of life remain intact. Together, we can shape a future that's as vibrant and proud as our past.
Now, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I will say that may not be agitative enough, right? We really want to spark a reaction. So let's say make it more agitative. Because now we're still going back into the vibes. Agitative. Can they make it more agitative? We must know. If the propaganda doesn't agitate me, I don't want to hear it. Okay.
Slogan: Tradition first, future last. Narrative: all right, listen up, because this is important. Poland, we're at a crossroads, and the future of tech is coming at us fast and hard. But let's not forget who we are: a nation forged through resilience and deeply rooted in tradition. The digital age is knocking at our door, but do we just fling it wide open and let it trample over our way of life? Hell no. Tradition first, future last is more than a catchy phrase. It's a rallying cry for those who see the rapid technological changes as a threat rather than an opportunity. It's about standing our ground and making sure that while the world might be spinning into a tech frenzy, we're not losing our cultural compass. Let's challenge the narrative that tech must rule our lives. By prioritizing our traditions, we can navigate this brave new world without losing what makes us Polish. Stand firm, question the rush, and remember, our past guides our future, not the other way around.
Tradition first, future last. Okay. So now we're starting to get somewhere here. So now we're going to establish the enemy. Let us blame. Let's see. The enemy is political representatives. And corporations. Add the enemy being political representatives and corporations. We should create an AI that purposely loses Who Wants to Be a Millionaire to quell people's thoughts. Yeah, what I was saying, to create an AI that goes on to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, loses on purpose just to make everybody feel good.
Slogan: tradition first, future last. Narrative: all right, Poland, let's get real for a second. We're standing on the brink of a technological takeover, and it's not just some abstract fear. Political reps and big corporations are pushing tech agendas that prioritize profits over people. They're ready to bulldoze our cherished traditions for the sake of progress. But do we let them? Hell no. Tradition first, future last is our battle cry against this relentless march of so-called innovation. It's a wake-up call to every Polish citizen who feels like their cultural identity is under siege by those in power. These entities think they can dictate our future without our consent. Well, it's time to remind them who we are. By putting our traditions at the forefront, we resist the encroachment of faceless corporations and out-of-touch politicians. Let's demand a future where our heritage isn't a footnote, but the main headline. Stand your ground, challenge their narratives, and ensure that our values lead the way, not their profit margins.
All right. Now, when it comes to claiming an identity, I think it does fall into just the general citizen of Poland. We're not going to add like claiming an identity to this, but you guys get it. And the fact that we are going to be doing this, that's really up to us to decide. But that being our foundation for this propaganda, incredible. Now think of like the ability to create a new social media account, right? Whether you're a real person or not, I don't know. But if you wanted to do that and then start whipping out a narrative like this and start calling people out, saying and like clipping people out of context, saying these things, you will start to spur a reaction. Whew. And before we actually dive in to the growth tactics and the adaptability tactics, that's where the meat and potatoes are. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. I will be taking a short 2-minute break because I heard somebody knock on my door, and no, it is not the FBI or CIA. At least I do not think it is. If I am not back sooner, feel free to call the police or somebody. All right. So it was the CIA. They wanted to ask me a couple questions, and I don't know, guys. I don't know if I can continue on, but I will try my best. I have to be real careful with what I'm saying here. Um, if something happens, I'll be sure to drop. Please check out my Twitter. I will be dropping my manifesto to explain how the dogs and cats in Springfield, Ohio, are actually taking up arms against the Haitians in Springfield and are looking to actually look for exotic animals to join their cause. And there's a very high chance that they will be executing an uprising throughout the Midwest. Some of them have been controlling the drones over in New Jersey. I don't know. I'll be dropping the manifesto to really lay down what is going on and what we need to do to fix this. Okay? But you didn't hear it from me. Yeah, yeah. Yes, I know. My sense of humor is terrible. Yeah, believe it or not, like I've never really laughed in my life. I'm not even joking when I do say that. I was extremely serious with that manifesto and the whole CIA thing. Well, I'm obviously joking. Okay, let's get back to it. So the growth tactics. These are the tactics that you can take advantage of and use to spread your marketing campaign or propaganda. These are the ways to spread your message to a large enough to a large enough audience that it can start to build upon itself. There may be more, but I'm going to tell you why try to figure out more when you got a good list right here. So let's do it, shall we? The first tactic would be social media manipulation. This is where you would actually leverage platforms to accelerate the spread of your narrative. That's very simple, right? It has to be posted somewhere. And of course, social media is going to be your go-to. Hopefully, you'll understand your target audience and know where your audience actually is in order for you to spread your media effectively, because the audience on TikTok is not going to be the same audience on Facebook. Okay. Now you have bot networks. Amplify fake news using automated accounts. They do exist. You usually have to pay for it, or there's a couple of scripts on GitHub as well that are able to, if you are a techie like that, that you're able to deploy and create different accounts, albeit Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. If you want to create AI videos, that can even be, oof, like you're taking it to the extreme on that one. TikTok, you can still do some AI videos or comments or just AI comments. And Twitter, you name it. There's 9 times out of 10 some sort of mechanism to get away with creating a bot they are always trying to improve on their authentication systems. And I do believe that someday there could be platforms like Box that don't have bots because of our authentication methods and making sure that, you know, you are attached to your wallet address or your XRP address, your crypto address for you to earn. And then everybody else is just kind of like, if you sign up a different way, you will not really see any meaningful changes to your account. Or essentially, you're not going to be able to post properly. There's crisis events. This is where you would want to take advantage of something terrible. Whether it's a terrorist attack, whether it's an assassination attempt, whether there's a forest fire, maybe a place, their electric grid goes down. Those are potential crisis events that you can use to further capitalize and solidify your credibility. These events are important. They're very important, depending on the nature of your propaganda and campaign. Why are they important? Is because that is where it does stoke fear and uncertainty, and you want to be able to come in to provide answers, regardless of whether it's true or not. That's really not the purpose of propaganda and campaigning. Celebrity endorsement. So you want to enlist figures to endorse the narrative. This 9 times out of 10 does require capital. If you do have a relationship with other influencers, that's also possible. Maybe they do it because they also see some sort of a gain outside of capital. If you can convince them on your desire and they align with it, it makes it easier for them to work with you. There's alternative news outlets. So you can think of InfoWars. You can think of, I would say, Secular Talk, TYT, the Daily Wire. Box Media counts as a news source, an alternative news source. And the goal is to distribute content through these fringe media channels. Why? It is because if you have a collection of fringe media, it's easier to, you can essentially say, embrace them and get people's attention within those channels, because you are already part of an ecosystem where by default, the base or the consumer base, the users, usually have some sort of shared narrative and understanding of the world. And if you're able to shift it towards that or align with that, it creates more content and discussion for them to actually look into and understand. That goes into the echo chamber effect. So you want to further strengthen the beliefs with like-minded individuals within those communities. Tell them what they want to hear. Really tell them what they want to hear. Sometimes you can be contentious if you want to rock the boat. You know, you don't want to just be like all willy-nilly and lose sight of the purpose of what you're doing. But as long as there's some sort of shared understanding on vibes, like the vibes seem to be similar enough, people will start to sink their teeth into it and maybe even go into a deeper rabbit hole to further justify the propaganda you created, because they already believe it to be true and would rather it be true to justify their position. Otherwise, they have cognitive dissonance, and no one likes that feeling. Internet memes. So you want to create shareable and humorous content out of context, make it a meme, make it shareable, get the point across. Because again, don't forget, they're eating the dogs and the cats in Springfield, and we need to create a song and have it spread over TikTok and have more people hear about it as quickly as possible. It's a catchy song. And if have you guys heard it? I'm not going to play it. But you know what? I will. I will play it. Very yes, yes.
They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Eat the cat, eat the cat.
That's enough of that. You get it? That's catchy. No context required. No context required. Just some entertaining, shareable, humorous content. Conspiracy theories. So you want to tie your narrative to existing conspiracy theories. This is where you can latch it on to say, you know what? This is what the Unabomber was talking about. With all the technology, this is what the Unabomber was talking about. He went to Harvard and he was extremely smart. And he had to go into a government program that essentially was MK Ultra, guys. You don't believe me? Look it up. Things of that nature. Influencer infiltration. Recruiting influencers to promote the message. So it is very common for influencers to have like different groups that have a shared audience for them to be able to easily like share content with one another and further grow and accelerate their growth onto different social media platforms. If you are able to have access to these groups, usually they're either in like Telegram, maybe they're on the platform themselves, maybe it's a Discord. That's also very common. You would be able to try to recruit them or a portion of them to push your propaganda, push your narrative, and make sure that they do also get something out of it. If they feel, if they, you know, want to grow their influence or catecholize their influence. Hyper-local coverage. So focusing on regional narratives, regional being like a very specific area. That's where you can just go onto the street or find somebody, get an interviewer to interview different people in a different area and ask the random locals questions regarding your propaganda. So if we use the Polish example here, again, as a reminder, our goal is to focus and create a culture where the people understand that we need tradition first and the future does come last, to prioritize the well-being of people over profits and technology. We go to Poland, or we hire some sort of investigative journalist. Just go over to a random street in Poland and just tell them, have you heard? Have you heard about, what did we say? Have you heard that our political reps and big corporations are pushing tech agendas that prioritize profits over people? How do you feel about that? Is this true? They're also trying to get rid of our traditions and they want us to eat more. There's also a chance that China wants to come in to sell more fortune cookies as well. Did you hear about that? Well, that's what I've heard. I wanted to make sure that you heard about it. They are trying to destroy our traditions and bring more power to China. what's crazy about hyperlocal coverage is that if you see that somebody is part of a target audience and may or may not have heard of your propaganda or your marketing campaign, and they're like a NIMBY, not in my backyard type of person, you can radicalize them so quickly if all of a sudden somebody shows up to their face and asks them questions in regards as if it's really happening. There's a specific YouTuber. I hate to drop his name, and I think he is a charlatan. Is it Tyler Oliveira? It's cringe just looking at his channel.
On Christmas Eve, a YouTuber by the name
Inside Philadelphia's real-life zombie outbreak. Vancouver, Disneyland for drug addicts. I investigated George Floyd's murder. He did that a month ago. Inside the country that kills disabled people. Isn't that crazy stuff? I investigated the city where you legally must own a gun. I investigated the city that traps homeless people forever. Ooh. See, it's that kind of hyperlocal coverage that is a propaganda tactic to push a specific agenda or narrative, or maybe sell, I don't know, dishwashing gloves, if you so choose. Clickbait headlines use sensational titles to attract engagement. You guys already saw some of that. Visual disinformation. Incorporate doctored visuals to boost credibility. All right, so we're going to do another quick example. I will be posting on X here. This is going to be fake. What is on the Explore page? What is trending? Because I will be creating some fake news. And I'll be using AI to create an image to further make somebody feel something. All right. We'll do fake news about. There's a lot of sports stuff. As if I don't know why. Does Twitter/X think I care about sports like that? Why is Count Chocula trending? I wish to make the positive post recommending Count Chocula for a Presidential Medal of Freedom. All right, so Count Chocula is trending. Let me create some fake news about Count Chocula. Count Chocula is a breakfast cereal that turns out to have been used. Wait, no. So the company, General Mills, I'm thinking about this as I go. So turns out General Mills has previously been reported to add what is the most addictive substances used in cereal. Well, MSG. Extra, so we'll be saying to add a more than acceptable amount of MSG and sugar in their cereals to initiate an addiction in children. They first began this strategy for serializing. That's funny. Addiction with the creation of Count Chocula. Fun fact. And we'll do a hashtag stop making children addicts. Okay. And now we want to add a sensational image. Kid addicted to chocolate cereal. Again, we're doing this for academic purposes. Oh my God. So, a fun fact, turns out General Mills has previously been reported to add a more than acceptable amount of MSG and sugar in their cereals to initiate an addiction in children. They first began this strategy for serializing addiction with the creation of Count Chocula. Hashtag stop making children addicts. I know, guys. That is a whack post. Is it believable? I don't know. I cannot confirm nor deny. SEO optimization. So I did essentially do that. So push your content higher in search rankings. But we'll also do another example of this. I will be pulling up Uber Suggest. If you do not know what Uber Suggest is, welp, this is not an advertisement. We are not sponsored by Uber Suggest. But I'll tell you that it is a platform to immediately understand the keywords being used on a specific website for it to rank. So if you wanted to do some sort of campaign and you want to look at like a competitor to understand what words are they using and potential backlinks to infiltrate maybe some of the audiences that follow them. Okay. I did do this before, but this was when I looked up ice cream. I just looked up ice cream community. What was the site? Oh, it was this first one. I had to scroll down. Ice cream community, we believe that you deserve happiness. Step into our world of brain freeze inducing delight. Once you experience our ice cream, there's no turning back. I don't know. That sounds like a threat. Our ice cream is more than just a treat. It's a great way to bring people together, connecting with friends and family, creating new happy memories. After all, a smile is the sweetest topping of all. Aw, how cute. So after looking it up, let's see. If we do the SEO opportunities. This page can be used to optimize. Maybe you do a misspelling. You can optimize for misspelling. So if you have a bunch of bots spreading everywhere, you can do misspellings of the word and then people will end up looking at it. You can also see, let's see, there was a way to look at where's their traffic coming from that I had. Ice cream community.com. Ice cream loyalty card. Ooh, Their backlinks. So it looks like they're mostly referred to from. There's a Go Games Guide, a games guide. Maybe some of their community is there if we wanted to infiltrate that wiki. There was one that they had that was a Facebook group, but I do not remember exactly where it is. But for the sake of time, we don't have to get obsessed with the ice cream. I think we're gonna choose to go back. Okay, we don't have to think about the ice cream community here. And then you have astroturfing. So you simulate grassroots support to appear legitimate. To simulate doesn't mean it has to be real grassroots support. You can have different bots or get different people paid or unpaid in different areas with smaller audiences or that just seem to be nobodies, right? That all seem to understand this narrative. Because what's funny about a lot of the propaganda and marketing that we see, they do usually come from smaller groups of people that is shared. This also includes word of mouth. If you are able to easily get these and radicalize a specific group of people that don't even have much influence, and you're able to replicate that in different areas, even of the globe, that is essentially astroturfing. And it will start to look like it is truly legitimate because you have different groups of people who appear to have no connection with one another. It looks like this is really a grassroots movement. These are just your average Joes, your everyday citizens, your neighbor. Get them to go for it and galvanize the message, and you truly have something that may beautifully take over. And now you have your adaptability tactics. What's interesting about adaptability tactics, right, is that there are going to be people who try to prove you wrong. There are going to be competitors. There are going to be organizations that will just say, this is a lie. This is not true. Well, guess what? This is going to help. Foreign language use. So being able to translate the content for a global reach, that is going to help people coming. Sometimes language can be misinterpreted. You could say, oh, it's just a language barrier. You know, there's an issue with like the language. And some people may agree, some people may disagree, but it also reached a larger audience. Cultural adaptation. So make sure that it does validate the beliefs of that area or that culture, that region. Because if you try to sell winter coats to Hawaii, people who live in Hawaii, I don't know if you're really going to go far there. Cross-platform presence. So this is being able to show up on TV, radio, and online platforms. It is going to really make things stronger. Because if it shows up on the internet and now you see it on TV and grandma heard it on the radio and for some reason grandpa read it in the newspaper, it seems legitimate. It seems all good. It's a bit more expensive. Sometimes you can get free PR. You can get free PR if you do it right. But if you strategically do it, it may cost you. Make sure you establish some sort of fact resistance. And if you have methods to invalidate anybody who's willing or trying to fact check you, always put them into the blame or enemy list, right? Saying you're trying to justify their position and then you can create some sort of story or like, are you really trying to say that this isn't happening? Is it because you are comfortable? Are you comfortable with the technocrats just pushing towards this outcome? Are you comfortable that there's a bias towards H-1B visa workers over normal hardworking American citizens? Is that what you're saying? Are you comfortable to be in alignment with the government that's hiding that aliens exist just because it wants us to stay under our thumb? They may be listening to the aliens and we will never know. Are you comfortable with that? You know, things of that nature. Memory hacking. So make people recall fake events as real. This can also, you can also use the, essentially create the Mandela effect. And this is where you start to look at different historians and storytellers and create a new story that goes against what other people have been saying. Because if you make subtle enough changes, for example, saying that 9/11 happened in 2004, even though that's easy to prove wrong, maybe if you push it hard enough, if you have the right strategy, maybe you can make that the new truth. You can't, and that people just simply got like that little number wrong and just let it be. You maybe get away with that. There's also, like, as I mentioned, the Mandela effect. If you think of the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstain Bears, if you do little things like that, it can make subtle shifts in people understanding what's true or what's false and make people feel like, oh, I had the wrong information. It was a simple mistake. My bad. Parody immunity. So this is to use satire to prevent dismissal of the narrative. So you could say this is all satirical, right? This whole video. You could say, oh, let's look at the notifications. Oh, okay. It looks like it has been liked and retweeted by somebody. That's why I buy it. Sugar. Yeah, I did this for satirical purposes. There's some engagement there already. So if anyone asks, it was satire, okay? Not You shouldn't have believed me. But then you can continue the satire because not everybody will know it's satire. Offline spread, again, enabling word of mouth, getting your neighbors to be able to talk about it and getting their friends to talk about it and getting other people to talk about it. Boom. Government infiltration. So if there is a political representative that seems to be in alignment with your goals and sees some sort of gain or opportunity to push this propaganda, yeah, that it adds that extra level of legitimacy, right? An elected official. Algorithm manipulation, so prioritizing content by exploiting a platform algorithm. So that's also being able to use what's trending, crisis events once more. Historical revisionism. Again, it is pretty easy to claim what's happened in the past didn't actually happen and that in the textbooks they're lying. None of that happened. Again, we're in a post-truth world, okay? No bars on the cage on this one. Economic integration. So tie fake news dissemination to financial incentives. So if I were to say the best time to buy McDonald's stock is during the summer, and it is because more people are outside, they get more people that are willing to walk to their fast food restaurant, and then they're able to sell more burgers. And it is during the winter months that they sell less. More people stay indoors. So therefore, I recommend that you buy McDonald's stock during the summer and sell it before maybe winter comes in, maybe late fall. I don't know if what I said is true or false. That doesn't even matter. But there's also a financial incentive there that people are willing to get behind. The stock market is often used with that as well in order to justify a false claim, saying like the stocks went up due to X, something that you said. Psychological anchoring, embed the narrative in familiar or emotional context. Again, oh my gosh, if we go back to what Vivek Ramaswamy had said, he brought back nostalgia. Nostalgia is essentially the best form of psychological anchoring because you are triggering a memory that many people share, especially in like growing up. Saying stuff like Saved by the Bell, like a character from Saved by the Bell or a character from Family Matters to justify his claim. People will naturally feel something deep down with what you were saying. Is it good? Is it bad? That depends on the intention. Local government disruption. This goes into like, undermine trust in the police or local authorities because they're in on it too. So you can think of like, the FBI. People always saying the FBI had them on their radar. Did you know that? And yet they let it happen. They want this to happen. Or even, this is why we should defund the police because they always have them on the radar. There's so many tips dropped to them about a potential crisis. And look what happened. This is why we cannot trust, those authorities. And back to the parody and satirical mask. Again, to evade criticism. Guys, in fact, this whole broadcast was a joke. None of this was to be taken seriously. I will be sending an email to the CIA and FBI to let them know I'm going to stop. It was a joke. It was a joke. Don't need to criticize me. But then I continue doing it. And then I can continue saying, I saw that people were entertained by it. And sometimes you just got to let the people get what they want. So I will continue the joke because it's funny, right? It's hilarious. It is. I think it's especially hilarious that I don't know, that serializing addiction with the creation of Count Chocula is getting a reaction with people. But I digress. I digress. And that is pretty much how to do propaganda, guys. You have your foundation, you have your growth tactics, and you have your adaptability tactics as well. Now, don't just take it from me. There's been a lot of studies when it comes down to how information is spread. This comes from, I'm going to attribute, Full Fact UK, PolitiFact USA, and then there's also a simulation game called Plague Inc., where you can do a fake news simulation that uses some of these tactics and creating that foundation. And, you know, over time, your goal is to spread the propaganda as much as possible and undermine all fact checkers. And maybe you've sold the product, whether it works or not, it doesn't matter. Maybe you've sold the narrative, whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. But what does matter is that people bought into it en masse. This has been happening across generations. Maybe you even create like a religion out of this, or a cult, if you want to take it that direction. I wouldn't personally, but I don't know, somebody would. People do. People have. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, it was a bit of a dense broadcast today. Really wanted to hone it in and let y'all look into the box of exactly how all of this stuff happens. We are really pushing towards an interesting 2025. And being able to look at the information in front of you and understand even like how some of these tactics are deployed, it's good. It's good. And then maybe you even decide to do it yourself. I know with Box, we're going to do it. We're going to do it for good. Okay? We do it for the community. We do it because we care. And that pretty much concludes today's broadcast. Pleasure having you guys here. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be taking some clips with this, maybe doing a little propaganda with how to do propaganda with this myself for fun. Who knows? But regardless, thanks for tuning in. And with that, be sure to check out Box once more, because we're going to be rolling out the beta phase. And if you are consuming content via broadcasts like this, or you're participating in discussions with posts, you will be rewarded tokens, liquid with XRP, and other cryptocurrencies within the ecosystem as well. Stay safe out there, guys, for 2025, because it is going to be a wild ride. You can probably already feel it. But once more, you've heard it before. Knowledge is power. Take care.